Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Nerd Shelves. Today, we are going to be taking a look at a game designed by one of my favorite designers out there, Stefan Feld. I love pretty much every Stefan Feld game that I've ever played. They're just so thinky and puzzly, and I just absolutely adore them. So when I heard about Carpe Diem, I thought to myself, I have to give this a try. If it's anything like any of Stefan Feld's other games, I am going to absolutely love it. So let's take a look at Carpe Diem, and then meet me back here, and I'll tell you what I think. Carpe Diem is played over a total of 4 rounds. Players take turns collecting tiles from the main board and adding them to their personal district, collecting rewards along the way. When all of the tiles are gone, the round ends, and players will place one of their tokens on an end of round bonus, collecting the reward, which is usually victory points, indicated by these cards. After the 4th round, players add up their cards, total their bonuses, and the player with the most victory points is the winner. On their turn, players collect tiles by moving their marker according to movement rules. Now, this may differ depending on what edition of the game you have. In the older editions, such as this one, players are restricted to moving in a star pattern as indicated on the board. But newer editions have players move in a circular pattern. When a player moves to a new space, they may collect one of the remaining tiles and place it on their personal player board. Placement rules only allow you to place a tile adjacent to an already placed tile, and only next to a matching landscape or dwelling. This includes the green field on the edge of the board. Once a landscape or dwelling is complete, a player may immediately collect the appropriate reward from the main supply. When you complete a landscape, whether it's a vineyard, garden, pond, or chicken coop, collect the appropriate wares, grapes, herbs, fish, or chickens, equal to the number of tiles used minus 1. In this example, 2 tiles were used to complete the pond, so the player would receive 1 fish. Not only landscapes, but dwellings can be completed as well. When you complete the merchant, you return all of your wares to the supply in return for coins plus 1. Coins are important because they are wild and can be used in place of wares later in the game. The baker rewards players with 2 bread tokens. Bread tokens can be used to move around the board against usual movement rules or to fulfill contracts during the end of round scoring phase, which we'll talk about a bit later. If you complete an administrative building, move your token 2 spaces along the banderole track, which gives you endgame points and determines player order in the end of round scoring phase. A completed craftsman building allows players to take an extra building tile at the bottom of the main player board and immediately place it in their district. Finally, villas do not collect rewards until the end of the game, where you receive victory points based on the amount of chimneys in each completed villa. Markets, bakeries, and fountains are always standalone buildings, and if placed, you are immediately rewarded with 1 coin, 1 bread token, or a fountain card, which gives players endgame bonuses. Another thing to keep in mind when placing tiles is, at the beginning of the game, players randomly select borders for their districts, which show different landscape and building types with a point value. At the end of the game, if that line intersects the matching construction type, players add the indicated points to their end game total. Once all of the tiles are gone from the board, the round ends immediately, and the player furthest along the Bandalore track takes one of their tokens and places it on an end of round bonus space. These end of round bonus cards are randomly selected at the beginning of the game and arranged so that there is a circle connecting each card on the sides, top, and bottom. Players may place their marker on one of the full circles if it is still available, overlapping two of the cards. These are the bonuses the players collect, and they may collect as many of each bonus as they have resources. For example, if the bonus requires one completed chicken coop, but you have two, you may collect the bonus twice. However, if you are unable to meet one of the requirements, you will return 4 scoring points to the supply. Markers placed on the end of round bonus cards stay for the entire game, meaning as the game progresses, there are fewer places to choose from. After each player has placed one of their end of round bonus tokens, the building tiles are then refilled and play continues as players place buildings and collect bonuses, and this continues until the end of the 4th round. At that point, the game is over and players then calculate their victory points. Chimneys and completed villas, remaining resources in a player's supply, the banderole bar, fountain cards, frame achievements, and scoring cards already in hand. The player with the most victory points seized the day and is the winner of Carpe Diem. So there you have it, Stefan Feld's Carpe Diem. Now, I have to admit, when I first started learning the rules to Carpe Diem, I thought it was going to be pretty simple. I didn't really see that there's going to be a lot to it, and I was a little bit worried that I was going to be bored. I just love Stefan Feld games, and I just love the meatiness and the thinkiness of most Stefan Feld games, you know, the puzzle aspect to them. I was a little bit worried that Carpe Diem wouldn't quite meet that standard. I was wrong. I was completely wrong. When learning the rules, it seemed like it was going to be simple at first, but once you dove into the game and started playing, there was so much to think about, and all of the different landscapes and buildings and what got you what resources, and you were trying to plan out where to move your marker on the board, and then trying to figure out what resources you need for the end of round bonuses, and trying to watch what your players were collecting on their boards and thinking about what end of round bonus they were going for and trying to beat them. There was a lot going on, and for me, I love that. I absolutely love it. Another thing about Carpe Diem that I really, really like is that there's so much replayability. The borders around your player mats change. The end of game bonuses change. The way the tiles come out change. I mean, every game is completely different, and that just makes it so easy to get to the table. Another great thing about Carpe Diem is that it doesn't take a long time. I mean, the first time when you're learning it, it might take a little bit of time to wrap your head around it. There's a little bit of AP sometimes, but once you get going and you know the mechanics and you learn the rules, with 2 players, I would say an hour maximum. With 3 and 4 players, a little bit more time, but for me, that really hits the sweet spot. I just love those hour and a half, really thinky point salad type games. And if you're like me and you like those kind of games, then I highly, highly, highly recommend Carpe Diem. So that's my review I hope you enjoyed it. And why don't you go and get another game off of your nerd shelves. Take care. Bye.